Hey, what's already? Welcome back to News Dose, and it's been a busy couple of weeks for the Xbox team. You know, they're going through a change in leadership, and a really emotional one at that. However, one thing that I have noticed online is that there is seemingly a renewed hope from fans regarding the new Xbox CEO, Asha Sharma. And that's because she is saying the right things, and that continues to be the case. So a lot of fans are hoping that she can bring that competitive fire back to the brand once again, and, well, now we have some very interesting results that I want to talk about today. And then also a clear-cut sign that the industry is changing, though it kind of feels like the industry itself kind of missed that memo. First, though, I do want to thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Thank you just so much for what you do, and you will receive this video through early access. Let's go and get right into things, though, starting off with Xbox Game Pass. Yesterday, we talked about a potential Cyberpunk 2077 tease, and, well, they did indeed confirm that today, alongside various other games, which you can see here. This is their next wave of Game Pass titles, which includes To a T, F125, Planet of Lana 2, Construction Simulator, Cyberpunk 2077, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Cabby's Dollhouse Ready to Party. And I do think it's important to note that Deliverance 2 also launched today into Game Pass, and honestly, I think it's the standout game for the month. It is viewed as one of the best RPGs in recent memory, so definitely check that game out if you like RPGs, but beyond that, I think that there are a few games of note. I mean, obviously, Cyberpunk 2077 and Silksong, if you haven't played those already, they are incredible genre-defining games, but the other game that I want to highlight is Planet of Lana 2. Now, this is actually a day one launch, and I played the first game a few years back. I thought it was a great and beautiful experience. Reminds me of something like Limbo, but with, you know, a much more colorful art style, and it's just a really memorable experience. And I think the sequel has a good chance of repeating that yet again, if not improving upon its formula. So I definitely keep an eye on it as well, and as I always say, that's the beauty of something like Game Pass. You can at the very least try it, and I will say, the first game was only a few hours long, and I'm kind of expecting the same thing for the sequel. So maybe it could be a good fun game to play over the weekend. All right, now we also got a Capcom Spotlight showcase to look forward to on March 5th because apparently Resident Evil 9 is just Capcom warming up for the rest of 2026. They have yet another stacked lineup loaded for us this year, and you can see that on full display over on their website. The highlight games for their Spotlight showcase includes Street Fighter VI, Monster Hunter Stories Twisted Reflection, Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection, Pragmata, and even Mega Man Dual Override, which, I mean, I was not expecting that. Like the other games listed here, it's not a 2026 title, but seemingly it will show up with maybe some new gameplay. I mean, I guess we'll see, but for you Mega Man fans out there, this could actually end up being a really fun showcase. But once again, Capcom is on a brilliant hot streak. I mean, I really think this is possibly one of the best hot streaks that we've ever seen from any publisher/developer. I mean, you can go back to the 90s and you can point to Rare and Square, or even Naughty Dog from the PlayStation 1 through the beginning of the PlayStation 4 generation. But in terms of modern day gaming, I really don't believe there is a better publisher than Capcom. I mean, they have just been so consistent with their output and quality since I'd say about 2018 with the launch of Resident Evil 7 and Monster Hunter World. Pretty much since that point, they have been firing on all cylinders, and 2026 could actually be one of their best years yet if games like Pragmata, Monster Hunter Stories, and Onimusha all deliver. Oh, and Bandai Namco apparently has something to reveal as well because they are teasing a new RPG announcement for March 5th. So, I mean, March 5th will be a pretty busy day for game reveals, but they posted a small teaser trailer online, and kind of looks like it will be more of a JRPG with an anime-like aesthetic, so this probably isn't a new FromSoft game. I saw some people speculating that it could be, but no, I don't think that's what we're seeing here. My hope personally is that it'll be related to the Tales of series. I mean, it's been 5 years since the launch of Tales of Arise, and I mean, that was a great game. I feel like it kind of catapulted the series to the next level, or at least visually, but honestly, I don't think that's what this is either, and that's because fans are making a fairly good case that it could be related to Sword Art Online. There is a tower in this teaser that apparently looks similar to the one that is in Sword Art Online, so you can take that as you will. If anything else, we aren't going to have to wait all that long to find out because the official reveal, again, will be made here in just a couple of days. All right, now let's go and talk about Xbox, though, because I have noticed a renewed hope for the future of the brand because of some things that Asha Sharma has been saying, which we're going to get into that here in just a moment. But as a preface, it's always very interesting to me when I talk about this topic of exclusivity, because there are people, including in my comment section, that are very against the idea of exclusivity. And okay, if you feel that way, that's perfectly fine, but we are going to settle a few things today because we actually got some very interesting results that I think speaks for the wider Xbox audience. Now, for me personally, I will go on record for like the 100th time that I think exclusivity is important for consoles. I've gone over this at great length in the past, but let me just put it this way. There is a reason that Nintendo has lived as long as they have and have been as successful as they have, and a large part of that is because people love their exclusive games. Nintendo fans don't buy Nintendo consoles for third-party games. They're more so viewed as a bonus. Yet despite that, the Switch 1 is now the second best-selling console of all time, and then the Switch 2 is the fastest-selling console of all time. Meanwhile, if you look at the Xbox Series, pretty much ever since they exiled exclusives 2 years ago, their console business has fallen off a cliff. So this idea that people don't care about exclusives, they don't matter in the modern day of gaming, just doesn't ring true to me. Now, if you want to make an argument that Xbox will make more money by going multi-platform, then okay, that's a completely different debate. But I don't even know if that's true when you start to consider the entire Xbox ecosystem and all the money that they make on third-party games and subscriptions. What I do know, though, is that Asha Sharma keeps preaching about their refocused priority on their console business. And she once again did that during their all-hands-on Xbox meeting where she said, quote-unquote, "We are going to start with console and make sure that we understand that this is our reference experience." Now, to be fair, she also said we will meet players where they are and build experiences that are instant and seamless and accessible. But that could also just be referring to something like the cloud. But that's the thing, because she also previously suggested that she's going to look into the data and whether or not exclusives make sense for the Xbox brand. So now everybody's kind of speculating about whether or not they're actually going to go back to that exclusive mindset. And I'll say this much. I've seen some people say that it's impossible for them to revert back to that mentality, but I disagree with that. It might take some time for them to do that, if they even decide to, which, of course, this entire topic is a big if, but I don't think it's any more impossible than PlayStation reverting their PC strategy. Things change, companies change, and companies adapt. I think Xbox's bigger issue with all this is that if they do go back to exclusives, can they re-earn the trust from their fans and actually rebuild their Xbox consoles, which, that's going to kind of be the point. Because I think the moment they went multi-platform, they kind of lost a lot of goodwill from some of their most loyal fans. Now, with that said, this takes me to the results that I really want to talk about today, because again, there are some people that are very much against the idea of exclusivity, but I would like to know how many people are on that side. Well, Jess Corden, who has a lot of Xbox followers, put out this poll which reads, should Xbox have exclusives? And yeah, around 70% voted that yes, they should have some sort of exclusive strategy, with the majority voting that most or all of their games should be exclusive. And interestingly, only 13% voted that they shouldn't have exclusives. So, I think that tells you pretty much everything that you need to know and how Xbox fans are truly feeling about this. Despite some people claiming that exclusives don't matter, clearly, most Xbox fans feel completely different. They want that competitive fire back, and, we'll see what happens. For me, it's kind of a coin flip for what Xbox will do next, but that's really only because I need to truly see what Asha Sharma is all about, rather than just listening to her words. Talk is cheap, so I want to see more from her. I want to see actions. I want to see her come out and actually lay out a plan rather than suggesting something and, kind of teasing things. I need to see more from her before I am convinced that this is their future, but right now it does kind of seem like maybe they're considering it, so I guess we'll see. All right, now one more thing before we go, though, because we got some breaking news that Highgaurd has officially shut down less than 2 months after its release. And I mean, to be fair, it survived longer than Concord. That's something, but this is now becoming a trend for these live service games. Gamers are rejecting them, and I think that has to be alarming for all of these gaming companies that have bet big on live service titles. And I'm looking at you, Sony. They've put a lot of funds into their live service projects, but it's not like I've been warning these companies for years on the channel. There is a reason that I call it the mythical cash cow syndrome. All of these companies, they see the money, and they started to chase a trend rather than setting their own, and this is kind of the result of that. These companies need to understand that it's a super competitive and crowded space, and it's not that easy to convert these gamers from their already established favorite games to their generic clones. So, I mean, unless a company can make something that's truly special, that can differentiate itself from the rest of the pack, which, to be honest, most of these live service games don't fit into that category, then they're probably not going to have that much success. So, I mean, things are not looking good, and I'll just simply leave it at that. The reality is, though, is that I don't think gamers are even slightly surprised that Highgaurd failed. But as sad as it may be to say this, I kind of feel like the game industry, including, I guess, Jeff Keighley, kind of are. So it's almost as if gamers are sending a clear message to make these companies understand. And who knows? With that message, maybe they will eventually hit a reset button and go back to delivering games that fans are, actually asking for. I guess they can just continue to pray and spray, if you will, in the hopes that one of these live service games will stick, which ironically I think has been Sony's strategy all along. They're making all of these live service games in the hopes that a few will be a success, but yeah, right now things are not looking great for these type of games, and Highgaurd is the latest example of that. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode, but until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.